Hello, this is Nitin Dahad with the Times. I'm here in the US talking to Silanna Semiconductor and Patrick Moore and Randy Wayland. Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you. Okay, so you've got a big announcement. What's the announcement, Patrick? Tell me.
Yeah, so we're really excited to announce our Plural product family. So platform approach to ADCs, and really when you look at this market, it's a market that has been consolidating over the last 5 or 6 years.
Is it data converters or ADCs?
ADCs as data converters,
Okay,
so the analog to digital converters.
Okay.
And so in this space, call it maybe a $2 billion market, about 75% of that is ADCs, and 85% of that market is owned by a single provider. And so our unique revolutionary platform technology is going to allow customers that are part of that 85% or are forced to go into that 85% market to have some choice. And we believe that this offering has some compelling tech in the near term, but also some innovation as we release our next generation of features. And it's going to allow customers to get product at a very competitive price with the performance that they're used to.
Okay, there's a lot there.
Yes, yes.
So I guess people might want to know, so what's the innovation? I mean, an ADC is an ADC.
Yeah. So fair. I guess I'll hand that over to Randy to talk a little bit about the technology.
Sure.
itself.
Yeah, ADC is an ADC, but if you look at the market, it's a very fragmented market where there's hundreds and hundreds of products out there. And if someone wants to penetrate this market, they really need to have hundreds of SKUs. And the cost, if you do each one of these individually, is hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So it's blocked out right now. So we came up with a technology so we can reduce that amount of SKUs that we have to initially develop, and we can have hundreds of SKUs offered right away. And so that's really the compelling technology. We can do this quite quickly and have a full portfolio of parts.
Okay, let's break that down. So what is exactly that technology or that platform?
So our platform is called Plural, meaning more than one, and we have 4 different Plural platforms. We have a 10-bit platform, a 12-bit, a 14, and a 16-bit. And the 10-bit platform, that platform can service data converters from 20 meg to 250 meg. We can match exact pin-to-pin drop-ins to the legacy competitors. And each one of these platforms can do 40 to 50 different product SKUs. So instead of having to develop hundreds and hundreds of SKUs, we're down to just 4. So we can get to market quick as far as the manufacturing cycle time. We manufacture the wafers ahead of time, and the cycle times to go package and test is 6 weeks compared to our competitors when they have to go through the full manufacturing cycle.
Which could be 6 to 12 months.
Which could be, easily 6 to 12 months.
But so you've got these wafers already ready.
Yes.
But then you have a level of ability to program depending on what sampling rate.
Yeah, so they're factory configured. So imagine we have a stack of wafers, and one wafer isn't dedicated to just one SKU. One wafer can now be 40 to 50 SKUs, and then we can service those SKUs off that one wafer stack.
Okay, and so that's what gives the customers the flexibility. And people can, there's the EVK available, and that's available. So
so there's the EVK, and the nice thing about the EVKs that we have is this EVK is configurable by the user through a GUI, and you can, the 10-bit Plural platform.
Sorry, evaluation kit.
So evaluation kit, EVK, evaluation kit. And so the customer can look at this like, oh, do I need 80 megasamples? Do I need 105? You can fine tune exactly what you want, and you could lower your cost based on exactly, this is the part that I need. It's going to be the same silicon, so they can take the data from the EVK and then use that right into their end systems. And it's going to be the exact same part.
And you've been talking to customers, or potential customers already, and they're already wanting those EVKs, is that right?
Yes. Patrick, you can.
Yeah, so we've been out in the market. This is super exciting. So the customers, without exception, have said, if you can really do this, it's very compelling. So every customer that we've met over the last 3 weeks has asked for an evaluation kit. So those EVKs will be available at the beginning of June. They'll be available through the traditional high service website providers, distributors.
Around $500.
Yeah, around $500.
Okay.
And those EBKs will then ship to the customers, and they can evaluate the product. And then our production release in September will have the full production parts available to the customers to include in their designs.
And one of your propositions, although it's not the main one, is that your pin compatible drop-in is
Yes.
30% less.
That's exactly right.
In price.
That's exactly right. So with consolidated market and the type of market share that the leading brand has in the ADC world, there's very little cost compression. And so what we're offering out of the gate is just if you were to go online and find the 1K price of us versus the provider that we're dropping in to support, it's 30K. I mean, it's 30% less on the 1K price.
30K would be good on
that'd be great, right? Yes, that'd be great.
Shipping money,
Yeah.
contra revenue.
Yeah. So that's another value proposition, but it's not the only one, right? If it was just drop in, or it was just cost, or it was just the platform, maybe not as compelling. The fact that it's all four of those things, and by four I mean including our feature-rich product, which has some functions that allow you to offload some of the processors and FPGAs on your board to our ADC, that becomes very, very compelling to the customer.
And it's a 40-nanometer process.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, out of the blue, Silanna Semiconductor doing data converters, where does this all come from?
Yeah, so I'll hand that back to Randy for his history on the data converter.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks. Good question on that. So the history of these data converters, and this actually, the whole Plural platform came from a previous company where these assets weren't being looked after. And I acquired these assets and acquired the same team and started looking at funding partners and manufacturing partners. And Silanna was a perfect match because they already had a team that had shipped hundreds of millions of units over the last decade, an intact team. So it was a great match with the data converters, a market that they wanted to start penetrating.
What were they shipped hundreds of millions of?
RF switches.
RF switches,
And,
okay.
And then so
I think the point there is they've got the relationships with the manufacturers and
yes.
foundries.
So we have direct relationships with the OSATs and the foundries on this. So it was a great match. And then that's what started the Silanna getting into the data converter business.
You were like leading that team of 5, is that right?
Yeah, it was a team of 5 guys. And then, like I said, we ended up merging with Silanna and then got more resources and then access to the fabs and the operations.
I just had 5 guys at Silanna. But
Yes.
but no, so seriously, I think you actually have a good big background in all of this.
Yeah, I've been involved in a couple of startups that got acquired. So I love the Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton Christensen, right? Where big companies focus on their top customers, they service them. Their whole goal is to generate more revenue and generate more profits, and they don't have time to look and see innovative ways to reduce costs and accelerate time to market. So I'm a big believer in that, and that's really the thesis of why all of this started.
Okay, and I guess one of the words you used or phrases you used when we had a chat earlier was democratizing access to ADCs. But what do you mean by that? Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll let Patrick go.
Yeah. So I think that like Randy was just saying, there's an entire set of the market. The highest number of customers exist at the edge of where the legacy vendor can't really support. They don't have the bodies or maybe even the interest. And so suddenly those folks are able to get the solutions that help them optimize their system design instead of having to take the solutions that were made for the top customers solely.
Okay, and so then basically what you're saying is if I'm a small player, I can get access to these. I don't have to wait long for them, and they're 30% less in cost. Is that right?
100%. So you get access to the evaluation kit that allows you to optimize your system design at a lower price with some functionality that the legacy vendors aren't going to offer within the next year.
Okay, and it's going to get available through all the e-commerce distribution sites.
That's exactly right. We're in talks with them right now. So by the time our EVKs are available, it's through us or our e-commerce partners. And then as we hit production in September, we're in conversations with distributors that have global footprints, and they'll be able to buy through them.
What are some of the things people are saying to you that you've been speaking to about this I mean, why are you so excited?
Yeah. Right. So we go into these meetings, and in the beginning, like we had one 2 weeks ago where the engineer said, "So that's great. You're 30% less. I don't have a problem with the existing supplier." And our conversation then went down the path. Well, once you put that piece of silicon down, it's that your sole source, and we know that capacity constraints are coming again. Wouldn't it be valuable to have a second source? Yes, that would be valuable. Would there be value in a lower price? Sure. At a minimum, it's a negotiation with my tier one vendor. And here's my roadmap. And when they see some of the functions that we're going to be offering, that's when they say, I see the innovation. We think the platform itself is innovative, and so we try to tell them about the innovation in the platform itself, but the fact that we have feature-rich parts that are coming out, it's compelling to everybody. There hasn't been somebody I've spoken to that didn't request an EVK.
Now, is this a change of direction for Silanna, or are you still doing the other parts of the business as well?
Yeah, so we still have, we did a little bit of a pivot, right? We're putting a lot of emphasis and effort into the data converter market,
Okay.
but we're still full steam ahead with our laser driver products and our specialty analog, and we're looking at other ways to fulfill customers' needs with our analog expertise.
But this, you expect to go to 50% of your revenue at some point, or more?
I don't know. I would love that to be the case. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick and Randy, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
That was
Appreciate
great.